In this video, I'm going to show you how to add a little bit more to the way you color your character so it looks a little bit more advanced. So there's a couple techniques. So let's look at the dodge and blur tool. So the dodge tool is for the light, the blur, uh, burn, sorry, is for kind of making it look darker. So select highlights, and you'll notice it doesn't always work with all the colors, and that's an issue with this, so that's something to consider. You may want to make it so that it takes out more of the color, a little bit darker, as you can see. And one of the things you want to do is decide where is the sun coming from. So in this case, I would say the sun's coming from down here. So that means it would be darker on that side and lighter on the other. Now, one thing with cartoons is you don't want it to be perfect. You just want to do it a little bit to give kind of a hint that you've thought about this, and it makes the characters look a little bit more three-dimensional. So without like going into too much detail, that's a good trick. Did you see how I just crossed the line there? So I'm going to show you a little trick to be able to color so you don't have to worry. We're going to use the magic wand tool, the self-selection tool. And so you see how you have I call these the magic ants. So that means that you can only color inside that selection, so inside the magic ants. So I'm going to go get the dodge tool again, and you're going to see now when I color, even if I go over the line, it doesn't affect anything else. So that's a really powerful technique you can use in a lot of other places. So I'll turn that off. The way to turn it off, by the way, is the hotkey Command D. So just remember that. It's just easier to remember the key. Now I'll select the arm, and so you can select everything that's the same color, basically. So in the same thing in here, I'm going to come and use my dodge or burn tool. Now I got to remember, where is the light coming from? That wouldn't actually make much sense to have the light on the shoulder there, because it wouldn't make it look like there's light coming from there. Maybe sometimes it's a little bit of trial and error, a little bit of Command Z, fixing as you go. And the hotkey again to turn off the marching ants is Command D. So now you're going to see that I'm trying to color the eyes and it's not working with this technique. So maybe you have the choice of just not do the eyes, or a lot like we talked about yesterday, you could get color swatches and or add swatches, and I'll show you. In this section, I'm showing you how to use the smudge tool. So the smudge tool works a lot like when you're putting your finger on a drawing, you're trying to smudge the drawing. Now normally you don't use that too much in cartoons, but you could experiment with it. So I'm going to select this color, and a lot like we did the other day, I'm going to go get my color swatches. I'm going to go use a monochromatic color swatch so that I have other colors from. Now actually you want to click on create, not on my themes. That was a little bit of an error. So click on create, please. And so there it is. And you have that selected. Select that button like I taught you. And you're going to see it appear. Second, there it is. So I want to change it to the monochromatic color rule. So in other words, these are all colors that are part of the same red. So if I'm going to use these to paint. So instead of using the burn and dodge, I'll actually paint. Now sometimes people take those and put them on their canvas and delete them after, and use the color selection tool, so which is the hotkey I. So there you go. So I selected the self-selection tool, and I'm going to color inside. So I have to add it to the swatches, which I did. So I'm going to select it, and then I'm going to turn to my regular paintbrush and adjust the brush tip to the size that I want, using the bracket keys, as you probably already remember. And I'm going to go really big right now so you can see. So the sun's coming from that side. Now that one's a little pale. So what I could do is go a little darker right away in there. And you could save that to the swatches so you have it. Or you could just, paint it on, like I said, on the canvas and delete it when you're done. So that's another option. So hopefully you have any questions, let me know.